name is Jerry Figgiani, and welcome to my dojo, the East Coast Black Belt Academy. In this episode, I'm going to cover Fukyugata Ni. It's the second kata in our Matsubayashi Shorin Ryu syllabus. The kata was created by Miyagi Chojin, and Master Nagamine took this kata, added it to our syllabus. So I'm going to be working a two-person drill with the movements from the kata to help teach almost like a yakuso kumite, a pre-arranged type of fighting drill, so that students have an understanding of the solo interpretation of the kata, and it just makes a lot more sense when we put a partner to the movement. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. So we're just going to go through the kata Fukyugata Ni all the way through, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pair up with partners. I'll show you the breakdown of what sequence will work, and then you'll work that back and forth. I'll show you another sequence, and then we'll piece them together. All right, Fukyugata Ni. Kyosuke, ready? Yoi. Ich, ni, san. Ich, ni, san. Ich, ni, san. Ai! Ai! Ich, ni, san. Ich, ni, san. Ich, ni, san. She, yoi. Ich, ni, san. 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 Though we have a prearranged type of agreement with our partner in this drill, we can't forget about going outside the box when we look at the movement itself. So during the course of tonight's class, I'm going to be adding some different applications to the basic techniques that we have within the kata. Hopefully you could become creative and look at the movement and maybe come up with some better form and function, more importantly for yourself. All right? Once we have a good understanding of our techniques, that's what helps accelerate or takes our karate to a different level. All right, so sorry, working back and forth. There you go. So the next part of the kata, the person that's the aggressor, that's the attacker, will continue to attack. So when we do the first three opening moves, when Sensei Rick steps in, I block, I counterattack, and now I block down. He's going to continue the attack. So as the attack comes in, I step back, I counter again, he comes in, and I block down. And we'll stop right at that sequence right there. Okay, so these are the initial two sides, the opening of the kata. Okay. All right, back and forth with your pawn. Good.
Now you step over one of the knee, sun, drop back down there. Good. That hand. Ichi. Knee, now drop back this and make a head block with that hand. No, go back. Very good, yes. Good job. Do it again. You attack again. Ready? Ready?
All right, so the next sequence from here, we're just going to work the two chest blocks. Again, I'll have Sensei Mike going through the kata. Sensei Rick will be the attacker. I'm defending.
Right from the chest block?
No, we're gonna
from the beginning.
From the beginning. All right, so from the beginning, we're going to start the kata. So it's ich. All right, we step back, head block, we counter attack. Knee, from here he comes in, I block down. Again, the person that starts or initiates the attack continues. Steps in headlock, all right, counter, and then block down. From here, the next two moves, we step back, chest block, step back one more time, and then just grab the gi from this position. All right, so just for the camera, all right. When we initiate the two chest blocks from here, the second one we just grip up. All right, so this is important because you want to maintain this through the next combination that we're going to do. All right, so block and grip. Okay? All right, work that back and forth.
Double latch.
You grab the arm. No, that's not. You grab the arm.
Okay, so the next sequence we're going to do, this is where it's tricky. All right, we gripped up with our opponent, we're hanging on. Now we're coming in with the kick, and then we're going to drop into the elbow strike. A lot of times when beginners are going through the technique, sometimes you see they block with the right hand, punch with the left, and they're off. So this way you can understand the application or the sequence of moves a lot better when you're actually doing with a partner. So from the beginning again, nice and slow. Sensei Mike's going to be doing the solo interpretation of the kata. Sensei steps in and attacks. I counterattack. He attacks again. I block down. That was the first sequence. Next sequence, same thing. Head block, face punch, down block. Two chest blocks, and then we'll stop right here. Okay, so just move in for the camera. Okay, so I'm at that second chest block and I grip up. From here, just stay in that position. I'm going to be kicking low. All right, that's going to be causing my opponent to fall forward. But as I kick, Sensei Rick is not going to comply. He's going to do a leg block or an ankle check. As I kick, he stops my kick from coming in. I do not want to have the leg go back behind me because I wouldn't be able to follow up with the elbow. So from here, after he checks it, I step in. This is important to make sure you close the gap between you and your opponent. All right, so we'll turn back this way. I still maintain my grip with the right hand. From here, the hand that's up, I drop down, creating the opening. I punch, but he doesn't comply. We'll stop right at the sequence right here. So one more time, slow. After I grip up, okay, we'll turn this way for the camera. All right, again, just stay in that position. Right. I kick low, I fall forward. This is when he blocks. I come down, creating the opening, and now I punch. He doesn't comply, knocking the arm out of the way. We'll stop right there. Right.
This way? Yes, step in. This way?
In the sequence of the drill, we're following the motion of the kata, all right? But it's real important to understand that the attacking person, all right, when Sensei first steps in to punch, all right, of course we're thinking head block against a punching technique. But he could be going to grab to my throat, and I'm using that same movement. All right, remember, we give the movement a name so everybody stays in the same sequence. But I could use the application, the movement, all right, for just a different application. say he was to grab my wrist, and I wanted outside position, all right? So if I shift my body to that side and the hand goes up in that way, all right? If I close my hand, my hand's in the pocket, you take a picture, you're saying, oh, he's doing a head block. But I'm just using the movement to create the application or the counter I need to escape. So this could be a grab, and I just bring the hand up in that position. All right, so that's something you want to think about when you're, when you're attacking, or even when you counterattack. So from this position here, say I want to grab his throat, right, and he knocks my hand out of the way. Or even here, if he's coming in with an elbow, or say you wanted to come with an elbow, all right, and now I just bring the arm down to protect the body. So think about this as we go along with the two-person drill. Some people have difficulty with that ankle block. If you notice, when I'm kicking in, Sensei Rick's blocking the ankle. If you notice the position of his foot, he's getting the bottom of the foot on the top of the ankle, right? So if we were gripped up in this position here, they'll keep you the same foot forward. And I came in and I placed my foot in the same position, and I had some kazushi, or breaking of the balance in that direction. You see how I can execute this as a throw. So it's the same foot placement that we do in that application. Okay, if I go to the knee, it would be the same type of movement. All right, if we were gripped up from here, I'm using an ankle block. From this position here, I go out a little deeper, I use a knee block. Okay, a great way to practice that is on the medicine ball. So the foot that's behind you touches the ball and it comes back. Then you switch your feet. The foot behind you touches and comes back. Then we switch. Touch, switch. Touch, switch. Touch, switch. Touch, switch. And you want to keep the hands up. The hands are what will allow you to break the balance in the direction that you want. Okay? Work that with your partner.
Try to here, grab it. Wait for me.
And Hajime. So let's start from this position here. All right, so now you have a basic understanding of the foot position when you're checking the kick. So I kick, come in elbow, block down, punch the lead shoulder that's closest to your opponent. Sensei is going to body bump me, knock me back, and I come with my shuto. Okay, so let's do it this way. Sensei, you'll do it again.
Same way.
So again, I kick, elbow, block down, punch, body bumps, and then from here I come with the shuto. Now, if you notice how Sensei Rick is blocking with two hands, he pushes that hand down. Now he attacks with a single push or punch. I grab. I just do the same thing on the opposite side of the body. Come with the elbow, block down, punch, body bump, and now shuto one more time. Okay. Let's do it. From the first kick, I come in elbow, block down, punch, he body bumps. From here, shuto, pushes the hand down. I step back, kick, elbow, block, he doesn't comply, bumps back, and I finish with the last shuto, going towards 12 o'clock. Okay, we'll take it to that point. Kyosuke, great, your. Ich, ni, san, ich, ni, san, ich, ni, san, hey, ich, ni, san, ich, ni, san, Okay, so this is where we're going to take our two-person drill up to. Okay, with your partners. So coming down to the end of the kata, this is the last knife hand technique that we throw. From here, the next sequence, Sensei Rick pushes the hand down. I drop back with the left foot, and I'm just going to block out with both hands. From here, again, if somebody was attacking you in this position, I wouldn't draw my hands back. But for the sake of keeping it within the context of the kata, I'm going to draw the hands back and strike. From here, my opponent backs out. I step up, I step back, and I execute one more block. From this position here, again, I would draw back and strike, and then from this position, I would come up to your position, and that would end the two-person drill. If you want to take it a little bit to a different level, so I'm going to take it down. So when he pushes the hands down, the first sequence, I would block, strike, he backs out, I step back, now I step in and throw. Okay, so I'll do it one time from this position. So from here, he pushes down, I step back, draw back, strike out. From here, block, come in, and now I go into my throw. Okay, and that's how you could end it if you want to take it to that level. Okay. All right, you don't have to do the takedown.
1, 2, 3. I'm happy with that. You throw him? He deserves to be thrown. Why?
Get back. That's it.
Don't throw him, he's old.
So going back to the opening sequence where Sensei Rick steps in and I drop back and execute the head block, right? Realistically, we have to look at the technique and what type of position we want to try to establish. The goal is to always try to weaken your opponent, strengthen your position. So if I look at that opening attack, again, whether it's a push, a punch, a grab to the neck, I got to decide where I'm going, right? So again, in the dojo, we have a large space, but environment plays a big part. So if there was a wall here and he's coming in, all right, of course I'm going to be inside position, right? If the wall wasn't in that position, now you see I have a double action where I'm kind of parrying with that left hand and creating a barrier with that right hand. From here I could push off and exit. So sometimes in that opening sequence we look for a double action. So if you think of a punch coming in from the side, if you think of a punch coming in left hand, all right, and now I have this same type of movement in the opening sequence. All right? So attack comes in inside position, all right, then I want to be aware of where I could strike now. So again, I'm in close range. So I wouldn't be throwing any kick or anything, but from here I could drive the knee. I could drive the elbow. If he's forcing the hand down or even cross-grabbing from this position here, you can see I have the sequence of the knife hand strike that we perform and execute in the kata as well. Okay, so back and forth with just that opening move. All right, outside position or inside position. All right, inside position, you see where the hand is in position to strike right away. Whether it's fingers to the eyes, just a palm heel strike, and then you're looking to get out, okay, with your punch. When we look at the opening sequence, when he comes in with the punch, realistically, if he was coming with the punch or the grab, I may go in right away with a technique, all right? So you don't want to, just block and then counter, right? If you could work off the same movement, that's very important as well. Again, from this position here, when we look at the punch, the face punch, if my opponent was grabbing, right, and then from here, I kind of pulled down on the arm and punched out with the opposite side. If I step behind, now I have a takedown, I can look to exit. So that's another way of looking at that movement. So when he comes in and strikes, and if he's controlling my arm, and now he reaches across to grab, and I'm in this position, all right? Whether I have garment, or even if I have like a naked grip, where I'm using the same motion, one hand's coming back, one hand's going out, displacing the balance of my opponent, and now I attack, okay? So work that back and forth with your partner. Just grip up lightly, and think of pulling low, right? If you want to kind of punch high to create this effect here with your opponent. And again, your height of your opponent depends on your ability to perform that move. Okay. All right, back and forth.
That's it, I'm going. Now, if I feel it, no. But I want you to feel it, so you can control it. Stay. Now, keep working. You can control without the
The next sequence of techniques when we use the chest block, all right? Again, going back to that first initial movement where Sensei Rick was attacking before to the head, when he comes to the head, I could establish outside or inside position. All right? I could also retreat to create more space so I have time to assess what's going on. Or again, I could move in. All right, but in this next sequence, we have to look at how we could apply a basic chest block. And again, a lot of this is mainly for the beginners. So in the katas, sometimes katas are performed where a person's kicking to your left and you're stepping out, blocking that kick. And you kind of follow that sequence throughout the kata, but sometimes you got to look at it a little bit more beyond than just that basic following the pattern of the kata. So if a push comes in and I'm here, perform, again, because my hand isn't closed, I'm still doing that chest block. But now I establish inside position. So long range, I could kick, I could strike, I could move the arm away, so whatever I'm going to do. But if we're gripped up and now from here he's controlling my wrist, I could use the same chest block movement to now establish outside position. So I'll do that a little slower. He comes in with that first initial one, I'm inside, we're gripped up, he's controlling the wrist, and now I shift my whole body to the outside and I just execute that same blocking technique. Okay, so try that with your partners as well. Back and forth. All right.
Okay. So inside, strike. Now you're still in there. Okay. Now you have the knee. You have the knee, groin. You have the elbow. You have an elbow sideways. You can come in sideways. That right. You know, you're inside here. And now outside. And now we're gripped up. Right. You're gripping up me. Grip. And now I'm coming here. So now you're going to take that hand and come underneath. No, this one. And do a chest block and go to the outside. Let go of that hand. Come underneath and do a chest block. Double action chest block. No, this way. Right. Now where are you? Now you're to the outside. So that's what he's showing. Showing inside and then outside. Right.
Again, if we're only looking at those techniques as chest blocks, right? It kind of limits our ability to really, again, think outside the box and understand how it's just human movement. And most of these techniques appear within the transition of the technique of how you're trying to, displace your opponent's balance, how you're trying to keep the integrity of your stance while somebody's attacking you. So again, when we look at that movement, of course nobody's just going to reach across and grab you. But the movement, again, if he was a lot stronger than me, right, I would have a lot of trouble just being in this position trying to execute that technique. But the transition to the outside with that double action makes it a lot easier for me to break that grip. So these are, you know, whether, you know, again, nobody grabs this way, but if we're, you know, if he's looking to control my arm and now I just drop back and now you see a knife hand strike appear. Yeah, it looks like a knife hand, it is a knife hand, but it's the movement itself. And this is where sometimes people get stuck, especially beginners. You know, this has to be a block, this has to be, you know, the hand has to be closed. The hand really has to be relaxed. There should be no tension, right? And again, your emotional levels when dealing with confrontation play a big part in that. If he's grabbing and my hands are just closed, again, I'm kind of limited what I could do. And it's very important, and I could even feel this on him, if he just drives the elbow into my body, all right? That's something that could be prevented if my hands are open. So now when he drives, if I feel that motion, I could transition into something else. So it becomes like a sensitivity type of drill. So even though this is structured, all right, where it's prearranged, just like Yakuso Kumite, you just don't want to think head block. You just don't want to think, you know, face punch. You just don't want to think down block. Right? You have to look beyond. That's very important. Okay. Next sequence. Okay. All right. So again, let's go into that. Again, infighting, which Matsubayashi Shorin Ryu is. Again, in this position here, say my opponent cross grips me. All right. Again, this is good for me because if I bring the hand up onto the outside position of my opponent, now I just come in with that strike. If I drop the elbow down, that sets me up for something else. So again, these movements, which are within the kata, you see how they're applied differently. Look, if I close the hands in this position, and Sensei Rick backs out, and somebody takes a picture, they're saying, "Oh, he's doing the Hanchi show." Okay, it's just movement. That's all it is. Okay. Just getting back to that in close again, from here, if my opponent's trying to control me, and again, control the wrist. Again, if I don't have the power or the strength to break from here, I want to use the body. If I rotate in and I think of throwing the elbow, putting the elbow to my opponent, all right, again, from here, that could break the grip, I clear the hands, and now I could assess or escape. So again, the elbow doesn't have to follow the sequence of the kata where we're striking somebody up in the chin. If he's grabbing and I'm performing an elbow technique, whether it's coming up 12 o'clock or it's coming across 3 o'clock, from here, if I turn in this position here, that 3 o'clock elbow, again, goes back to the knife hand strike. You see how it appears again.
Now you re-grab me. Now, the step.
Okay, Yame. Okay. The last part of the technique when we do the double strike, all right, where the two hands are extended. The foot that's out in front, the hand on that side of the body is palm up, the opposite side is palm down. All right? Again, in confrontation, if both hands were being controlled, all right, you notice from here, if I kind of step back a little bit and try to punch down, this will break my opponent's grip. So again, it's just a simple motion, all right? And again, this is a technique that, again, people are looking to control. Whether I'm coming in, all right, so from here I'm coming in and he's looking to, keep my hands off him, all right? But now if he's controlling and I just rotate that hand, that's what's going to break the grip. So sometimes when people punch, right, if I keep my hand in a vertical position and he has, if you guys could just come around here so you can see, if he has a good grip, if I had somebody that has a strong grip, and I'm trying to punch in a vertical punch position, doesn't work. he'll always hang on. But if I rotate, that's what's going to break the grip. So whether it's one hand or two hands, I'm looking to have rotation in the technique to break the grip. So that kind of really, that's the ending technique of Fukyugata Ni. So you can see how, again, it's beyond what we're just doing person to person, prearranged. And whether it's Fukyugata Ni or any of the katas, that's how you have to look at the technique. Again, a lot of times the stances define what we're doing at that point. Again, if somebody's taking a picture of me, I'm in a Zenkutsu, right? People saying, oh, you're doing a down block. But again, if he's pushing, right, and now he steps in from this position here, and I take him down, now you can see in transition, the stance kind of appears. Or if I'm doing jiggle tie, where we're gripped up, and then from here, his right foot is forward, and now I just step in and drop my weight down. Okay? This is jiggle tie for me. Or if my feet were straight, Nahachi Dachi. Okay? All right. We're going to finish out with the Kata Fukyugata Ni. Kyosuke, right? Yoi. Ich. Ni. San. Ich. Ni. San. Ich. Ni. San. Hey! Ich. Ni. San. Ich. Ni. San. Ich. Ni. San. Shi.